Welcome back to another Sunday prep day. If you're new here, every Sunday I prep for the week. So that means cutting all my vegetables. Today I'm also going to make some pork belly and some stock for some ramen. The braising liquid from the pork belly will be the stock for my ramen. I'm going to make some soup. I'm going to make some coleslaw. So we'll start by taking some cloves of garlic. One I'm going to put in this container where I'm going to gather all my stock ingredients. The other one is going in this container where I'm going to grab all my soup ingredients. So then we'll start by cutting up some onions, yellow onion sliced up, one for each of those containers. And I'll start by going over my meal plan. So for breakfast today, yes, I actually had breakfast. Doesn't happen very often. I had some quark with some nectarine. That was delicious. But yeah, I don't usually have breakfast, so you won't hear me mention that a lot. Then for lunch today, I'm going to have some sandwiches with some chicken and some lettuce, maybe some cucumber. So if you don't know, I'm diabetic. I had to cut some carbs, so I don't usually have carbs for lunch, except on the weekend when I have my cheat day. So that's when I usually have sandwiches, because I really do like sandwiches. Then for dinner tonight, I'm going to do some chicken drumsticks. I haven't fully decided yet how I'm going to season them. We will see about that. But I'll make them in the air fryer. I could do some tandoori. I still have a little bit of yogurt left. We'll see. But I'll have that with some broccoli and some baby potatoes. So then, since we're on onions, I need one diced red onion that's going to go in some coleslaw. I'll put a big container out for that as well, so I can gather my coleslaw ingredients. So dice it by cutting it all the way to the root. Leave the actual root on. That makes things a lot easier. And just cut across for a dice. So we did Sunday, then Monday I do meatless Mondays. For lunch I'm going to have some vegetable soup. So you'll see me make that in a moment. So tomorrow I just need to warm that through. And then for dinner I'm going to do some falafel with some couscous. I just bought the falafel. I still have some store-bought tzatziki. And the couscous salad is going to be lots and lots of parsley. I'll do some peppers. I'll do some cucumber, some lime juice, etc. So one more red onion. This is a tiny one. And I'll just slice this up, and this is for later in the week. So Monday out of the way. Tuesday, I'm going to do some coleslaw with some sausages. I'm going to make a big batch of coleslaw because it's not worth making one small portion of coleslaw in my opinion. So I'm going to make a bigger batch, and I'll use that for several meals. Nice and easy. And yeah, I'll have that with some chipolata sausages. Then for dinner, I do Taco Tuesdays. I'm going to do some pork belly tacos. So I'll use some of the coleslaw again. I'll use some hard shell tacos, pork belly, and I'll just do some either some barbecue sauce or have some ready-made salsa as well that I could use. So I'll just use that on top of that. Then I'm just going to slice up these spring onions just because I have them, so I'll use them for a garnish. And I'll probably throw some in my couscous salad as well, because onion would be way too strong. But a little bit of spring onion would work nicely. So Wednesday, for lunch, I'll have some of those chipolata sausages left over. So I will have them with some broccoli, this here. And then for dinner, I'm gonna do some pork belly ramen. So the braising liquid from the pork belly, that will be the base for my ramen. I'll add some miso, some more mushrooms, some chili oil, things like that. So here I have some celery. That's gonna go in the soup and the stock. So just a couple of ribs. These are the last I have. So this is probably finer than it needs to be, but this is kind of my default chop. So there we go. Half of this is going to go in the stock and half is going to go in the soup. Then next up, I have some carrot. Again, I'll use half of this carrot in the stock and half in the soup. So I'm just going to cut that lengthwise and give that a quick slice. Doesn't need to be super fine, especially this stock, because I'm going to strain out all the solids anyway. But the soup, I'm not going to blend it or anything, so I want it somewhat fine. So yeah, half of this carrot in each. Then I'll grab my bowl for my coleslaw again, and we'll get my slicer, my julienne slicer, and I'll just quickly julienne. You can do use a grater as well, but I want this carrot nice and fine. So that is for my coleslaw. Next up, we'll chop some parsley, some for my soup and some for my couscous salad. So I'm going to give it a rough chop first, just so it's a little bit easier to work with. And then I'll just keep running my knife through until everything is nice and fine. And we'll quickly get that in a container. And then we will dice up some cucumber. So first I'm going to slice it lengthwise. That will also give it a nice stable base to work with. And then lengthwise again. And then across. And then I have one more cucumber. I'll just slice that up for things like sandwiches. So, oh, and we didn't finish the menu yet, did we? We were on Thursday. So I should have a little bit of pork belly left, so I'll do some coleslaw with pork belly. And then for dinner, I'm going to do a pork belly rice bowl. So that will be pork, obviously, and rice. And I'll have that again with some salsa or barbecue sauce. And I'll just saute some peppers, some chilies, some onion, that kind of stuff to go with it. Speaking of chili, let's chop one up now. So I'm just going to take this jalapeno and I'm going to take the seeds out. And I'll just give that a quick slice. And we were on Friday, so still have some coleslaw left. So I'll do coleslaw with some salmon because I do fish Fridays. And then for dinner, I'm gonna do some oat rice with some salmon. And I don't know what vegetable I'm gonna have with that yet. I'll just see whatever I have left over. So, yeah. Let's chop up some peppers. So I'll just cut them in half, take the seeds out. And one I will dice up by cutting it into long strips and then across. And those diced peppers are for the couscous salad. And the other one I'm going to slice up. And I'll use that for like the sauteed vegetables that I mentioned for the rice bowl. we go. Next up, I have some mushrooms. I have these oyster mushrooms. I'll just rip those into larger pieces. This is for my stock. Doesn't need to be super fine. I just want to maximize the flavor extraction. And then I also have some of these regular mushrooms, and I'll just give those a quick slice. Again, I'm gonna strain out all the solids from my stock, so it doesn't need to be perfect, but I just want nice surface area. Okay, that is mushrooms. Then next up, I have some broccoli. Enough for 2 meals, so I'll just do this whole head. Cut off the florets. If they're a bit bigger, cut them into bite-sized pieces. And yeah, like I said, I'll just finish off this entire head. And as always, I save the stems for things like broccoli rice. And then the last thing to chop, I have this red cabbage. I need about half of it, so I'm going to cut it in half. Save 1/2 for another day. And I'll cut it in half again to get quarters. So you see the stem here. I want to cut that out. And I'm just going to shred it as fine as I can. You can use a regular cabbage as well. I just have these this red cabbage, so it's more for color than anything else. And that is all the chopping done, and we're at 23 minutes. So I'm quickly gonna put away the things I don't need anymore, preheat my Ninja Foodies on saute, and then when I come back, we'll start making the soup and the stock and all that stuff. So both my Ninja Foodies have preheated on saute. I'm going to add a splash of oil to both of them. And to both, I'll add a container, and each is the same at the moment. It's celery, onion, garlic, and carrot. So yes, I am going to be multitasking here and making 2 things at the same time. But I'll try not to get you confused. The mushrooms I'll add in a little bit, and the parsley I'll add later as well. While this is softening, I should probably add some salt, because that will help soften it. And I'll add that to both. And while that is softening, I'm just going to score the skin on my pork belly. So I'll just do crisscross one way first, just through the skin. And then I'll flip it and cut it the other way. So you have a nice little diamond shape. So you can see just like that. And that will help the fat render out. So just going to leave that for a moment. While that's sauteing, I'll make my coleslaw. So I want to add some salt as well. That will help draw out moisture and make everything go nice and soft. Some pepper as well. And we're quickly going to pivot because my camera overheated, so it took a minute or 2 to change the battery and cool it down a bit. So before we finish the coleslaw, let's add the mushrooms to one pot so they can get a little bit of heat as well, and saute. And to the other pan I'm going to make my soup in, I'm going to add a bunch of parsley, and to my soup I'll add a good splash of water. So as I've said before, I have a pressure cooker, so I'm using a pressure cooker because it goes a lot quicker when I'm filming and editing and everything, trying to get the video out the same day. You can totally do this on the stove top or in a slow cooker or whatever you need. But yeah, I'll just switch this from saute to pressure cook 20 minutes. Valve is closed, lid is on tight, and that can just do its thing. And meanwhile, I'll give the mushrooms another quick stir. Add some water to that as well. I'll take my pork belly, put it down, skin side down, and make sure most of that is submerged. And again, I'll put the pressure down. This one you probably do want to pressure cook because otherwise pork belly you have to cook for like hours. But this can go for, it's not a super big piece, so I'll do 35 minutes, sounds about right. So those 2 pressure cookers are just going to do their thing. Meanwhile, I'm back to my coleslaw. So just to recap, because I did interrupt this, I have my shredded carrot, some red onion, some shredded red cabbage, some pepper and some salt. I'll add some mustard, and then I'll add some mayo. And like I say every time I make coleslaw in the video, don't add too much mayo at this point, because the salt will keep drawing moisture out, so it'll become more liquid. You don't want to have it too liquidy, so you can always add more if you need to, but don't add too much right from the start. So yeah, just see if it comes together. If it needs more liquid, you can add some, but just judge as you go. I'm making a very big batch, so I do notice that I need to add a little bit. I'll give that a quick taste. Yeah, that doesn't need anything, so that can just go in the fridge, and that's for several portions throughout the week. So I'm just going to put this away, put the parsley away, and then I'll be back when my pressure cookers are done. So that's all the prep finished for this week. So here I have my pork belly. When I want to use that, I'm just going to cut off a piece and air fry that to get that nice and crispy, and then slice it up further to have on my tacos or with my rice bowl or with my coleslaw, etc. And then here I have the braising liquid. I just strained that. You can see the remnants over here. So this will be the base for my ramen stock with some miso paste, some chili oil, etc. And then here I have my vegetable soup. So that'll be lunch for tomorrow. I just need to warm that back up. So yeah, that's all the prep work done for this week. If you like this kind of content, I do this every single Sunday. And if you would like to see what I ultimately eat, you can check out my Instagram where I post every single meal, or you can check out the video that I post about once a month on here, where I show you everything eaten a day for a whole week. So I'm filming one from today onwards until Friday, so that video will be out on Friday. So if that all sounds good to you, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and thank you for watching. Until next time, bye for now.